Just a reminder of how things stood for Kylian Mbappé going up against Lionel Messi. This was before today's matches. You may have heard that Lionel Messi broke the record. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But let's focus first on Kylian Mbappé, who scored twice in France's 3-0 victory over Iraq. And the reason we're starting with France is that once again, Robbo, they put in a performance that impressed.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, they controlled the game. They looked dangerous every time they went forward. They started with a sort of formulated system, but they rotated a lot over the course of the game in the front areas. All the front players did quite well. Dembele scored his goal as well, which people said he didn't play particularly well in the previous game. Elise was like he was in the first game, not quite as good, but he still picked out those passes. And Barcola played on the left-hand side rather than Doué. So it was a good performance. Rabiot again was dominant in midfield. They never really looked in trouble, I didn't think.
Ticking over nicely, aren't they?
Really are. And I think part of the issue, if you can call it that, with France were conditions and the rain and whether that would be a great leveler. But France never seemed to be in awful lot of trouble, even when there was the weather delay, just came back out. And while Iran played their part, sitting in Mbappe's second goal, I thought France were easily better of the two, despite all the conditions that may have worked against them.
And let's welcome in Jan Åge Fjørtoft is with us, former Norwegian striker, to talk about Norway. But let's talk about strikers as a whole, shall we, Jan? Kylian Mbappé, with those moments that we've seen throughout his career where he can make a goal pretty much out of nothing, and that was the first today.
Yeah, he can. And I mean, to be fair to them, Messi, Mbappé and Haaland, I mean, they got people around them. And it's like you feel that sometimes it's like in basketball when they need a important three-pointer, they look for the one to make that finish. And they have people around them, but take nothing away from them. Great finishers. And Mbappé, I mean, he's been criticized, he's been this and that, but it seems that when you see him now playing for France, what people think, maybe he wasn't that popular in the squad and everything. Well, that seems to be looking good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Although Iraq played to play out from the back, which is the worst I've ever seen, ever. And that takes something because I don't like those situations. And then looking for Mbappé again, but it's fantastic. It's fantastic for us fans because we want the best ones to deliver, don't we?
It's a brilliant point. We've watched the 7,000 games so far, but that's what you want. Stars to shine, the best players on the best tournament to do what they do best.
Well, we've seen that club level. We then see them play in the international side. Now at the World Cup, as you said, you want to see those best players. That's what you're turning on the TV for. Yes, you want your country to win, but you want to see the best players play well. And the first goal, I don't think he'd been involved in the game that much. The ball comes to him on the edge of the box and he smashes it with his left foot. It's a great finish. And then Jan is absolutely right. Iraq try and play out from the back. It's one of the worst examples of trying to play out from the back I've ever seen. And he has an easy finish. But yeah, overall, Mbappé looked a good player. I'd still like to see him make more runs in behind because against the better teams, he's going to have to do that. But today, he didn't have to.
How does France compare to the others, do you feel, Jan?
Well, they were my favorite. I mean, that was not hard to pick them as a favorite. Norway is now playing probably the second team in the last game, and probably that team could compete for the World Cup title as well, to be honest. I think France looking good. It seems like the players love to play together. And Robert was saying, I mean, all the quality they have all over the pitch. Dembele gets his goal. That is always good for the self-confidence. And you think players like this don't need self-confidence. They need to show each other. Do you think they got inspired from each other? Of course they do. What do you think Harry Kane tonight? He's sitting there and watching the other three get a brace. Do you think he will get a brace too? Of course he will. Of course he will. That's what they do, these people.
Jack, it's interesting when we went into this tournament, the two favourites, and I think everyone agreed that were head and shoulders above the rest, were France and Spain.
Yeah.
Spain turned it on, obviously, in the first half yesterday against Saudi Arabia. But there's still that feeling that they're very much reliant on Lamine Yamal doing something special. And as much as you can argue, Kylian Mbappe's got 4 goals, you just feel that there's so much talent around Mbappe that can drive this team forward, that if he has a bad game, is it fair to say that you feel that others can bail him out?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, coming into this tournament, the discussion was, Sydney, I felt that France had the edge because of how deep their squad was. They could put out 2 different 11s and go to a semi-final in this tournament. That's just how deep they were. The only question was Kylian Mbappé and his defensive role, and he seems to be playing that. Deschamps has understood that about Kylian Mbappé and been able to get the best out of this France squad with Mbappé in it. There's no question around the talent around Kylian Mbappé, the little shift of Dembele and Olise changing positions, Olise coming inside, certainly reaped huge rewards in the last game and just continues. And right now, France just looks a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Their big test will come on Friday against Norway. But they well, by their standards, have not been tested to this point. They've just looked far too good. We'll know a little bit more come Friday, but as of right now, it's just been smooth sailing.
What's interesting, Jan, it's the first time we've seen this tournament, the weather delay. The weather is a big talking point going into this match, given summer's in the States. How would that affect you as a player? What was it, 2 hours?
Yes.
Yeah, about 2 hour delay, wasn't it?
Well, it's interesting. I had a son playing in USA in college in Duke, and I knew all about these things happening, sitting in Norway, watching these small screens with one camera production. But no, I think that this is new, but these are so professional. If you see now when a bus arrives for the games, you see first a bus with players, and then you see 2 buses coming with staffs. So something they have to prepare for them. And you saw straight away, they went inside, they will do the warm-up again. I think that they're so professional. I don't think that will affect them a lot, especially in these games in the group stage. I think it will be different in the knockout stages, because we have seen now with this so-called drink rest or whatever that you call it in the USA, that you can see that can affect the game. So coming into the knockout stages, I think that could play a small role. If you're in a role and you break it off for 2 hours, of course that's going to be difficult then to just go out and do the same thing again.
You have a little nap shack? Is that what you do?
Let me just say, I disagree with Jan in that I think these weather delays or these breaks are more impactful than Sydney France made it look.
Right.
I think, and to Jan's point, in the knockout stages, it feels different because the competition is a lot more difficult. Things are a lot more balanced. But oftentimes, when you have a lesser team, as you did with Iraq, you're looking for little things that maybe prove to be a leveler. A wet pitch is one of those things. These long weather delays, you know what it's like. You're playing a game, you're going well, you want that to continue. How often have we said teams don't want the halftime whistle or something of the sort when you're dominating? And that's what France are doing. And then you're playing a game, you're soaking wet with the rain. You have to go back into the dressing room, sit down for 2 hours, and then come back out. Now, that's more difficult than it looks, or certainly a whole lot more difficult than France made it look. And I think that's the difference here. I think those circumstances are not ideal. They are just downright awful. France just made it look easy because of just how good they were despite that delay.
The thing that's difficult is not knowing. You know, how long is it going to be?
Yeah.
You know, you think when you first go in, is it going to be 10 minutes? So you sort of stay fairly fresh and you might carry on having a little jog
You
around.
stay fresh for a while. What are you doing?
If you're jogging around in the dressing room, you might think we'll be back out on the field in 10 minutes. Then it goes to half an hour, and in the end, it's 2 hours. So they have to go back out and do another full warm-up. And the people it might impact on are the slightly older players that might have 1 or 2 knocks. Because if you run flat out, as it was for 45 minutes, and then you have 2 hours off, some of those players might stiffen up.